Willkommen, bienvenue, welcome one and all to another live stream. You may recognize Chris's face from earlier on from the Property Quorum, shameless plug, 10 o'clock every Thursday. But today, he's in here in his own right as a representative of Root Home, a property development unit who specialize in social housing. And today, what we're doing is reacting to what I call the ghost budget. It promised so much and delivered so little. Chris, a direct quote from Chris from only a few moments ago. It seems to be a lot of fiddling around the edges. Chris,
it really does.
What's going on?
I'm still going through the budget, trying to see if I've missed something somewhere. I don't see how this is a vote winner. I'm scratching my head. I'm very puzzled by it.
Okay, go through some of the things that you know, the obvious ones, and then let's talk about some of the areas they're fiddling around the edges, and then perhaps we can even say what you were thinking would be there.
Yeah, they've cut a few taxes for a few different people. They've got some national insurance contributions that they're reducing, but they're pennies in the pound. Most people, it will have a marginal impact on. They've not really given much back, so they've frozen a few duties as well. So they've frozen booze, they've frozen fuel for a bit longer. Bags are up. That always upsets everyone. And as expected, they're going to start taxing vaping now. So that was always on the cards, wasn't it? Really, the switch.
Well, they were missing out on all that lovely money, weren't they? So,
but when you look at the housing section, it's like they're aware of how big the problem is, and again, they're just fiddling around the edges. So the one thing that they have done is reduce people's CGT, the capital gains tax. So people disposing of property assets, they're charged at the higher rate of 28%. They're reducing that down to 24%. Well,
right.
Given how much prices have gone up, that's not really much of a saving anyway.
The 4% change, it doesn't really. It's not even in the same ballpark as the amount that it's risen anyway.
It's crumbs. It really is crumbs. And they could have increased the allowance, but their intention behind it was to try and increase the amount of supply that's available to other buyers in the market. But yeah, okay, well, like I say, it's so marginal. And then they've taken a few things away as well, which is just staggering. So they almost gloss over the how little they're doing in terms of delivering new homes. If you toss them all up, they'd be way under the 300,000 they've been talking about for
it's not even close. I mean, even through Labour, the last Labour government, there was nowhere near enough home building, and it's the trend has only gone downwards.
Yeah. They make a small nod to adjusting planning capacity, but that's going to go into the next spending review. So that's a kick the can down the road. It's almost like they've given up. They've rolled over and given up on this one. And then they've taken a few other things off investors as well. So they're trying to damage the service accommodation industry by removing some of the tax breaks out of there for furnished holiday lettings. And
is that Airbnb people and similar?
Airbnb, any type of holiday letting or potentially any type of service accommodation. Yeah, it probably does extend to that far. And there are different types of service accommodation, ones that accommodate workers while they're in different parts of the country for longer periods of time. So they're quite important. And then they've also removed some of the stamp duty multiple dwellings relief, which doesn't make sense. They say it wasn't performing as expected, so they're getting rid of it. Well, people were still making use of it. They probably just weren't aware of it, which is why.
Oh.
So it
leads me to ask the question: do you think they're in touch?
No.
So that because you'd have thought if they were in touch, their focus would be elsewhere.
If they think that all people want are a slightly smaller tax bill, I'm talking pennies, that they want to pay more for their fags and just sit down the pub all the time, and that's it. They are way out of touch. So it's very frustrating seeing things like this. This is not a a vote winner. It's not an economy booster. It's an anti-budget. It's such an anticlimax. So
yeah,
I'm
I can't see how this. I mean, I suppose what it is. This is me postulating that we're going to have an election. I think it's inevitable now, fairly soon.
Yeah,
and
I believe the
perhaps,
second year, isn't it? That's certainly what I've seen.
well,
I
it
don't
might
know.
be. They might announce it within the next 2 weeks, won't they?
Yeah,
Right. So if that happens, sharp focus is on what have you been doing for me lately? And if they haven't been doing anything bad and they haven't been doing anything good, that's benign. And benign is better from their point of view than doing something that favors the rich and screws the poor, or even vice versa, dare I say it. So not having a strong opinion about anything means you live for longer, perhaps. I don't know. I mean, I can't see the point of this. I would have thought you're trying to show how little. I mean, I think their big thing is that Starmer keeps doing U-turns and doesn't stick to his guns, right? And this is the opposite. This is doing nothing.
yes, yeah. I keep alluding to us having a one-party system in this country because
Well,
they're both the same, really. Which is worse? I'm not sure. But
I
if they
think
could,
Starmer seems to be more risk averse, so therefore more likely to do nothing. Until I would have said that until this budget. Now they're both equally risk averse because this is like the scaredy cat budget, isn't it?
the thing that really aggravates me is that if they can start up the printing presses for wars in different places
Oh yes,
to the
of
tune of
course.
tens of billions, but they can't be bothered to put that money into our infrastructure in this country since we're paying for it. It's like what?
Well, because it goes out this country, therefore doesn't dilute our local currency, I guess, is the theory. So we only get to feel that properly later on. Oh God! So what were you expecting to see?
Um, some sort of structural reform of the planning system would be wonderful.
Yeah, but
Because
hadn't that been mooted for years, and everyone just kicks that can down the road?
yes, I guess, but like I say, I don't see this as much of a vote winner. And we were talking off air, and we were having a conversation about some of the permitted development rights that are coming through. That are actually incredible vote winners if they do put them through.
You'd have thought you'd
Mm.
put that out there now because it would galvanize. It would get people going.
It would get people interested in what they can do in the housing sector. Yeah, so some of there's been a consultation that's been ongoing for some time, and it will increase the amount of permitted development rights that people can do with their own home, including double-story extensions potentially, including wraparound extensions, which you don't have to take through a planning process. You're automatically entitled to those development rights under permitted development.
Right.
Adjustments to the size of dormers you can put onto the property. Yeah, it's substantial increases to the footprints of properties to benefit people who they already own their own property and they're potentially locked into for financial reasons, locked into not moving into different parts of the country or different geographic regions. So yeah, there's some great things on the cards, and that could be used or pointed out to excite people and certainly stimulate some of the growth in the market. If these changes had been in through the lockdown period when everyone was staying at home and getting all their extensions done and all the building industry was going rampant off the back of people living at home, the housing stock would be phenomenal now. But yeah, there's some great stuff that's coming in. They're just not tapped into it. Or like I say, I keep coming through this budget trying to find the really good bits, and I can't.
So far, it sort of alludes to possibly something, but just fiddles around the edges without actually doing anything substantial. So, do you think that this budget will make any difference to the current housing market? Will it frighten? Will it excite? Will it do nothing?
Absolutely nothing. They have almost no impact whatsoever.
So kind of pointless, really.
From what I can see, yeah. So everyone should have a look at it. It's section 6.6, I believe. Yeah, 6.6 housing in the spring budget 2024. It's all online, dead easy to look through. Maybe I'm being blind or stupid.
Well, look, I tell
I'd
you
love
what,
to be corrected. I'd love to be wrong.
I was going to say, yes, please, guys, take a look through this, the housing portion of the budget, and please, if you can see some sort of silver lining or some sort of interesting change that will affect, I don't care, positively or
Hmm.
negatively, the marketplace, I'd like to hear about it. But there just seems to be a bit of a nothing. Um, all right, let's briefly talk about the current marketplace for your end of the market, which is building HMOs and so on.
Hmm.
Is that how is that looking at the moment? Is it looking rosy? Because I know that buy to let has become less popular.
Well, I mentioned the permitted development rights. That's actually going to play quite a large role in helping us provide high quality accommodation with plenty of amenity space for um, possibly converting 2 to 3 bed properties into much larger properties. So some of the changes that are coming in could add to maybe 400 square feet onto a property, which is absolutely huge, absolutely
Hang
massive.
on. So take it the size properties we're talking about. How many square feet are they as they stand before you?
So lots of the, I mean, take a 2 bed. They're
Okay.
around about 60 square meters. What's that? Probably around about 400, 450 square
So are
feet.
you talking that they could potentially double the size of the damn thing?
Yep.
Well, that's quite amazing, actually.
Yeah, I'll say.
But
So
would it?
like a two-story extension on the back, for a terrace or a semi. Through the consultation, you previously do a single story on the same size property, going 3 meters back. You can now go. Or now they're talking about going be able to go 4 meters back and double story. Um, and then also, obviously, if you're on a side, you could potentially put a side extension on as well for a single story and space in the loft as well for a dormer. So yeah, you're creating a huge amount of usable space.
Right, and does this only apply to that sort of property, or what can it be applied to all sorts of
There are
property?
going to be different caveats for different property types and locations. So there are the devil is in the detail, it always is.
As ever.
Um, yeah, but yeah, on the whole, um, yeah, that you're talking. They are talking about pretty much any property you should be able to put these types of extensions on. Yeah,
To
under
play devil's
permissive.
advocate, will that not potentially screw with a neighbour's right to light and things like that?
Um, there are certain elements that need to be taken into account. Yeah, and it's still consultation, so it's it's almost likely to go through. But again, just waiting for those final details to be ironed out to see what the
I am
planners want.
interested to hear this because for years and years there have been people have been bleating on about the sanctity of that of keeping things as they were. So this is would be quite a move. When does it mooted that it's going to come into force?
The next couple of weeks, whether you will know whether it's approved in the next couple of weeks. Yeah, yeah.
And that could create a huge boost to the buildings industry because suddenly it becomes viable, not just for gentlemen like you who are looking to do it from a business perspective, but people who have felt that they can't expand their house any further. Suddenly,
Mhm.
theoretically, they could up to double its size.
Yeah, yeah. For the projects that we're doing, it probably double the cost on the projects, pretty much double the work. So there's going to be a good uptick for the right builders knowing what they're doing and working with the right developers. Mhm.
And would that mean would that mean many more people would be? I mean, how many more different? I don't know what you call units would you end up with within a domicile out of it?
So it varies. So the housing stock varies so substantially from area to area.
Of course.
Y- it,
But using the
we do
example
it on a
you
case
gave
by case
before,
basis. Yeah, we do.
the two bedroom, originally a two bedroom property, that
Yeah,
you're going to go up by another 400 square. I mean, that would increase by another two.
there's potential to get another 3 out of it if you go up into the loft as well, hmm and provide good quality rooms of a good size, including en suites.
As to be said, I think anyone listening should take this as read that the kind of properties that Chris is looking to develop and turn them into is a decent quality. Not we're not talking about slum landlord type things, stuff held together with sellotape and hope. We are talking about decent quality stuff, and even
The reason it's got
with
to be
that
decent,
proviso,
the reason it's got to be decent is because that the providers that we're putting into the properties, we want them there for the long term. They're offering us a long term lease, but there are break clauses in it. And if it's not fit for purpose for them, why would they continue to rent? So yeah, they will walk if the properties are not acceptable, if they're not right for them and also their service users. It's crucial.
all
So we've
right.
got to be.
If you wouldn't mind summarizing before we leave, it's not going to be much of a summary because there's not much to say, but summarize, please.
Yeah, the budget sucks as far as I can see, but prove me wrong, please. And but don't lose hope because there are some fascinating and very interesting developments on that are coming out of some planning consultations
And
that will certainly
theoretically,
be
April,
implemented.
May time, suddenly there'll be projects all over the shop to redevelop homes, existing homes, to provide more space, more floor space. This could be very exciting
I think so. I think so.
because there are two ways, are there not? You either redevelop existing properties, or you build on brownfield sites and greenfield sites to create new properties. Now,
Mhm.
there's been no bloody uptake on building the new sites, not really. So
Cost.
the logical other way is to redevelop existing properties, and this kind of sort of opens the door to that happening, really, in a
It's
sensible way.
it's actually beneficial as well. So I'm aware of the argument that, well, you're taking residential stock out of the market. Well, actually, what I'm doing is creating habitation for 6 people. So there's one loss, but there's a net gain of 5. So actually, no, I'm not. I'm benefiting the market by what I'm doing. So I'm aware of different arguments and different viewpoints on it, but
Of
it does come
course,
down to providing quality accommodation and addressing the fact that there's a huge demand there.
there's a huge demand, and it is quality accommodation. So, look, thank you once again, Chris. I would just like to say it was a riveting chat. It's a bit disappointing, really, but you came up with a nice little sting in the tail because I think that's great. That last bit, because that could be the stimulus this blooming country needs
Mm,
to try and right the wrongs of housing stock and places for people to live. The cities are overflowing with people desperately needing for somewhere to live, and this can provide that solution.
yeah.
Chris, once again, thank you very much. Mine is Gareth Hank. He's Chris Gilsenan. We're here every week, Thursday afternoon. Please do tune in. Tell your friends, and I hope you all have a wonderful rest of the week, and of course, safe mental health. Bye bye now.